Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
All right, you don't often see this snake. This is a juvenile Bothrops jararaca, also known as the Jararaca. This is the snake that the venom was first used in a very important medicine for people. A compound isolated from the venom of this species gave rise to the whole category of beta blockers, which help heart patients stabilize their blood pressure and heart rates. This snake also is the one responsible for the most bites in Brazil. It is a very volatile pogo stick with venom. And as Lori and I were just discussing before we started filming, she's really at the length and the volatility level that I really should move her to a larger tub, which I may do a little later. The male is in the other bin. I'm not sure what to do with him yet. Hi, Elvis. I know you're very excited and want out, but I have enough problems getting this Jararaca back in its cage without having you out in the room. So you're just going to have to sit still. Very, very alert, intelligent, exceptionally fast-moving Bothrops. She's not terribly happy at the moment. I am going to don a glove for extra protection when I attempt to get her back into her tub, which we'll do right now. I'm not really sure. I know as soon as I open this, she's going to start zooming all over the place, and with Elvis nearby, this could be quite interesting. Come on, behave yourself, you little rocket. Come on, go down. We've already done this once today. I don't need to do it again. Believe me, when they don't want to do something, they don't do it. You have to just keep trying until you can get them to relax a little bit. Yep.
And of course, Elvis is just as alert as ever, hoping that the spaghetti will fall in his mouth.
Indeed. So that's the Bothrops jararaca, also known as the Jararaca. You can Google the name and it'll basically translate to something like snake, which is really original. Continuing with the Saturday morning bin cleaning. Hi, how you doing? Oh, you think I'm here for food, huh? Your cage has got lots of poops in it, huh? Come on, up, relax, relax. Aren't you magnificent? I really love Ekis. This is a nice young lady. come on. We'll put the Uplex over top of her in a tub for her protection as well as ours. Yeah, she'll be 2 years old this summer, and again, I have more echis than I really know what to do with, at least of this species. This genus is the only one that gives live birth, and they have a much higher reproductive quota, if you want to call it that, I don't know if that's the right word, than other echis that lay eggs. The egg layers only have like 8 or 9 or 10 eggs at the most. A big girl, like her mother, produces anywhere from 20 to 40 babies a season. And last year, with the 6-month-olds that are down the rack here, she produced 39 live babies. Now, not all those babies survive, but some of them do, and that's why this species is a very common species within its range. Also in the fact that people love to attract things they like to eat, like rodents, because rodents like people, because they provide food and shelter, and echis like rodents, so they go to where the rodents are. And the reason why they're called carpet vipers is they'll be under your carpet or in your home, and they would probably blend in pretty well on a carpet, but these are snakes you don't want to get bit by. When we talk about the most venomous snake on the planet, to me it doesn't cross my mind that the taipan, the inland taipan, may have the most toxic venom, but it actually there's not one recorded fatality by an inland taipan, and usually the only people that get bit are people seeking them out for photography and or have some in captivity. These, on the other hand, kill tens of thousands of people worldwide, bite probably a couple 100,000 people worldwide in their range, and therefore I really consider them a quite venomous snake. Their venom has hemorrhagic proteins. It gives people what is commonly known as a consumptive coagulopathy. All the clotting factors in your blood are consumed by the venom proteins, and therefore you lose your ability to clot. And if you lose your ability to clot, your capillaries start leaking from another protein in the venom, and you end up bleeding all over the place. Your gums, your gut, your digestive tract, your rectum, your vagina, your eyes, your ears, even old cuts will start bleeding again. Fortunately, most of the antivenoms work very effectively, and generally only takes 1 to 2 vials to counteract the bite, because these are somewhat smaller snakes and their venom yield is relatively low, so it's easier to counteract. But boy, does it wreak havoc on a body. It will take weeks and weeks to recover from the bite. Your kidneys may be damaged in your liver from the breakdown products of all the blood. It's truly quite a deadly snake. Believe it or not, though, they're relatively easy to keep. They do real well in captivity.
They sure do reproduce easily in captivity.
Yeah, you just don't want to get bit by one. Fortunately, generally speaking, now watch it make a liar out of me, they're very easy to manipulate and move about. They generally hook pretty well. Come on, you're tail heavy. I know you're upset. You know, I don't take my snakes out of bins or out of their cages very much, unless I really have to. How nice of you to hook your tail through that little hole there. Therefore, you know, they may recognize me and say, oh, okay, you know, I'm pretty safe, but getting taken out of your home for any length of time and put into a container is quite disturbing for the animals. Therefore, they're frightened. And frightened animals can be quite dangerous and difficult to handle. Now this is a sibling. I think this is a male. We've learned here at the lair, you don't put males and females together and when you're talking about Equus Jararaca, because brother, sister, mother, son, doesn't matter. There will be babies next year, right? Huh? Hi, you think I'm going to bring you food too? Well, I'm sorry. We have to clean up some poop. Now this one, the males, you know, are a little bit more difficult to get feeding and such. He prefers live food, where the other one will eat anything I throw in there. And this is a boy. We can tell the difference. Although it's difficult with Equus because their packages are relatively small, the length of the tail is longer after the vent, and there's a real noticeable thickening right after the vent. And that's the pocket where the hemipenis goes when it's not in use. Another beautiful specimen, and like I said, you know, relatively friendly. They recognize me as the guy that brings tasty things to eat. And occasionally spritzes them with water. You know, Equus do need water, even though they're desert snakes, so we make sure that they get a little water. Sometimes most of the time I don't put water dishes in per se, because they just end up filling them with substrate, and mostly they're scale sippers but hate to get wet, so usually we spray the walls of the enclosure, and that really pisses them off. Because they really don't like water. But they really do need a little bit of water in their system. The ones that eat frozen thawed animals, they do get quite a bit of water on their prey item that they get to devour. And that helps them along quite a bit. There used to be about 8 different species recognized in the Equus family, the genera. Due to genetic DNA testing and profiling, they've reduced it down to 5 species. I have currently in-house 1, 2, 3, 4 species, 5, well, okay. Do I have, well, let's see, I've got Coloratus, I've got Jararaca, I've got Leucogaster, I got Pyramidum, and the one other species I really don't have. Maybe there's more than 5, maybe it's got reduced to 8 or something. There's Omanensis, and 1 or 2 others. But at any rate, I have 5 of the recognized species here at the lair. I find them quite enjoyable snakes to work with. Certainly some of my favorites. Again, even though we consider them relatively easy to work with. You just really need to stay out of their strike range, and they can be quite irascible. And even long-term captive snakes that we've had for a while, you can easily startle them and send them off into the corner, saw scaling like mad. Usually that happens sometimes when Lori goes into the other room over there, and it's pretty funny to watch them become totally unglued. A normally calm snake that would greet me at the cage when I opened it and go skittling to the back of the cage, saw scaling and striking like at anything that moves. Come on, bud. Come on. I've got to move these either into a cage with the adults that are segregated across the way, or into larger tubs, because right now they're at size limit for these. The baby bins are no longer babies. Now, I'm not going to bore everybody with cleaning the rest of the baby Sociaruchii, but I do want to show you Miss Bug Eye's babies. These are Egyptian saw scales. These were, I forget exactly when these were hatched, but I think in the fall. There was 4 eggs laid, 3 hatched. This is the biggest and best feeder of the bunch. If you recall, Miss Bug Eyes was a snake that I've had in my collection the longest out of all the other snakes that I currently have. This is another one of the siblings. This one, they're all eating pretty well, either geckos or frozen thawed pinks, depending on how hungry they are. Hi, bud. Hi, nice to see you. This is a very special one. I won't go into that story, but it managed in this tub, and with millimeter clearance, managed to escape the tub, and provided quite an extensive snake hunt around the room, and was found in between a cage over there staying warm, and it actually had grown in size, so it was eating spiders and other crickets that get loose in the room. Now it's at the size that it probably can't get out, and it even got out when we took the extra precaution of, you know, there's millimeter space here, so as an extra precaution we propped the cage up so it's pushed flat against this, and somehow it still managed to get out. I'm not sure how. Snakes are escape artists. That's why even with professional grade caging, they can still get out. And that's why you make the room that they're kept in also snake proof. So if they get out of the cage, they cannot leave the room. That's the whole idea. It's not a perfect system, but it works, you know, a huge amount of time.
Elvis is up his tree.
Oh yes, Elvis is up his tree. And Mr. Butthurt's over here with the girl now.
Ah. Are you making nice?
No, he looks like he's in defensive position. And this frickin' stink bug is in there. Come on. Out. Go over there. Hi, Elvis. Elvis usually takes to his tree when he's trying to find a hidden opening so he can get out. I know. I wish I had more space for you, but I don't. Hi, bud. Hi. I know, you're a big guy, huh? You're a big guy. I know, I see you.
I'm taller than you.
He's looking at me like, well, you know what I want. Why aren't you doing it, surf? So, at any rate, that's the tale of the Equus for today. Lori and I will just continue to clean the other Equus cages that are here, and then move on to other husbandry activities. We can see the vine snakes are very interested in Elvis's activities, like, what the hell was that? Yeah, these guys are hungry and want to eat. This one just wants to kill me, so.
Yes. See you later, Elvis.